Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that might seem a bit light, but believe me, it carries some real weight in our romantic lives.
Which
It's
is,
the surprising power of playfulness.
yes.
hmm
Because let's face it, adulting can really squeeze the fun out of things sometimes, can't it?
Totally. So, our mission today is to really dig into how intentionally bringing playfulness back into our relationships can genuinely strengthen those connections.
And boost overall happiness together, right?
Exactly. We've looked at quite a few articles, some research excerpts, all focusing on play in adult relationships.
And it's definitely more than just, acting childish or playing board games, although those can be part of it.
Right. The real question is, can actively cultivating this playful spirit, can it really be a game changer for the long run? For relationship health?
Well, that's what we're here to explore, isn't it?
Okay, let's unpack it. When we say playfulness in like a romantic context, what are we actually talking about? Because I
Yeah.
think some people immediately think, oh, that sounds immature.
That's a really common first reaction. And it's the first hurdle. It's definitely not about dodging responsibilities or, avoiding the serious stuff.
Okay.
It's more like a mindset, a
hmm
conscious choice, really, to weave in moments of joy, curiosity, spontaneity into your everyday life together.
Right. So it's less about escaping being adults and more about how we adult together, the vibe we create in those little moments.
Precisely how you navigate it all.
Can you give us some concrete examples? Like, what does this look like on a Tuesday night?
Sure. The sources mention things like inside jokes, that unique language only the two of you get. It builds this little private world.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Or maybe laughing really hard at each other's silly impressions. Taking the mickey out of someone you both know, or replaying a funny moment.
Uh-huh.
Then there's just embracing spontaneous stuff. Little things. A
hmm
playful tickle fight, maybe. Or sending goofy texts with absurd nicknames you've made up.
Simple things.
Simple things. One source even mentioned dancing in the rain, either literally or, as they put it, metaphorically.
Oh, I like that, metaphorically dancing in the rain. It's about being a bit less rigid, isn't it?
Exactly. Less uptight, not feeling every single interaction has to be planned or, super serious.
It sounds like it's about actively looking for those moments, or even creating them. Little pockets of shared fun.
That's a great way to put it. And what's really fascinating is the science behind why this matters so much. It's not just fluff.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting for this bit. Lay the science on us. How does being a bit silly actually make a relationship stronger?
Well, the research pretty consistently shows that when couples are playful, it creates these really positive associations in the brain
hmm
with each other, with the relationship itself.
Okay,
Think about it. When you're laughing together, truly laughing, your brain releases dopamine.
the feel-good chemical.
Right. The same one you get from other rewarding things.
hmm
So you start associating your partner and being with your partner with feeling good. It's a basic psychological principle, really. Dopamine links to pleasure, reward, and crucially here, feelings of connection and trust.
Ah, okay. So it's like you're chemically reinforcing the good vibes you have for each other.
You got it. Those shared laughs are literally strengthening the bond.
Wow.
And it's not just about feeling good in the moment either. Playfulness can be an amazing tool for diffusing tension.
How so?
Well, when things get a bit heated, during a disagreement,
Mm.
a well-timed, genuinely lighthearted comment or gesture, assuming it's appropriate, of course can act like a reset button.
A reset button. I like that. Like hitting pause on the argument for a sec.
Exactly. It breaks the pattern. It shifts the emotional energy just enough maybe to stop things spiraling downwards, allows you to come back to the issue later, maybe a bit calmer.
That makes sense. It
Yeah.
takes the pressure off for a moment.
And it fosters something else that's really valuable. Creativity
Yeah.
in communication, in problem solving.
Really? How?
When you feel safe enough with someone to be properly silly, to be playful, you're generally more open-minded. You're more willing to kind of think outside the box together when you hit a snag. That fun energy can spill over.
So it builds this sort of collaborative spirit almost, like you're tackling things as a team, even the fun stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to see it. It's not just the fun itself. It builds these deeper strengths.
That's a fantastic perspective. Okay, so this all sounds great, lovely even, but how do we actually do it? Especially when life feels busy and, frankly, not very playful sometimes.
Right, the practical side. The sources had some good, concrete ideas.
Let's hear them. We know the why, now the how.
Okay, first up, Embrace those inside jokes. We touched on them, but they're powerful. They create intimacy, that shared secret language.
Absolutely. My partner and I still use phrases from years ago. Sometimes we barely remember the origin, but it instantly connects us, that us against the world feeling.
Yeah. Exactly that. Then there's the idea of creating micro moments of fun.
Micro moment.
Yeah, tiny little things. Doesn't have to be a big planned event. It could be like pulling a funny face as you pass each other in the kitchen, or adding a silly twist to a chore you both hate. One source actually suggested a spontaneous sock sliding contest down the hallway.
Huh. Okay, I can picture that. It's about those little unexpected sparks, isn't it?
Precisely. Injecting little bursts of joy into the normal routine, small things add up.
What else did the research suggest?
Another big one was about not taking the mundane stuff too seriously.
Okay. Like chores and errands.
Yeah, exactly. So much of our time together can be wrapped up in that stuff. But does doing the dishes have to be silent and serious?
Hopefully not.
Right? Maybe put on some cheesy music and have a mini dance party while you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, narrate your trip to the supermarket like it's some grand adventure.
Like David Attenborough does the grocery run.
Something like that. It's about letting go of that constant need to be efficient and, well, serious all the time. Find the humor in the ordinary.
That really hits home. It's easy to get caught up in the shoulds and forget that just being a bit daft together can actually make those necessary tasks way more bearable, maybe even fun.
Definitely more bearable. And it connects you while you're doing them. Also, the sources brought up reconnecting with childhood joys.
Ooh, interesting. Like what?
Think about board games you both loved as kids. Or maybe watching old cartoons together. Building a blanket fort. Seriously, don't knock the blanket fort.
I haven't built a blanket fort in years.
Right. Shared nostalgia is a powerful thing. It sparks playfulness, sure, but it can also lead to really good conversations about your pasts, what made you who you are.
That's a great point. It connects you on a different level, looking back at a time when play maybe came more easily.
Exactly. And one more thing, don't forget to keep the flirt alive.
Ah, yes, very important.
Playful flirting isn't just for the beginning stages, right? A wink across a crowded room or even just across the sofa. A random compliment. Some lighthearted teasing, the kind teasing, obviously.
Right, the kind that makes you smile, not cringe.
Just reminds your partner, hey, the spark's still here. I still see you that way.
Yeah, I think in long-term relationships that playful, flirty energy can sometimes fade if you're not conscious of it, but it's so vital for keeping things feeling, well, vibrant.
It really is.
Now, you mentioned sources. One of them brought up this term, ludus love. Sounds a bit academic, but intriguing. What's that about?
Yeah, ludus. It's actually one of the ancient Greek concepts of love, often used in psychology. It refers to a style of love that's more like a game, playful, teasing, lighthearted flirtation.
Okay, like the thrill of the chase, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. It's often associated with the early stages or maybe more casual relationships.
Yeah.
But the interesting idea for the research is that bringing elements of ludus into a long-term committed relationship can be really beneficial.
How so? To stop things getting predictable.
Exactly. It injects that sense of fun, unpredictability, keeps things fresh. Research suggests this lightheartedness can actually lower pressure and anxiety in the relationship, too. Partners feel more relaxed, more themselves.
So it's not about a lack of commitment. It's about consciously adding that playful layer on top of the secure foundation.
That's it precisely. It's about knowing that playfulness, when it's grounded in trust and feeling safe with each other, becomes this incredibly powerful way to keep joy alive long term.
Okay, so if a couple isn't naturally like this, how could they intentionally bring in a bit more luduses? Are there risks?
Well, starting small is key. Maybe initiating a playful chase around the kitchen island, leaving silly notes for each other to find, turning a chore into a silly, friendly competition who can fold the laundry fastest. Loser makes tea.
Okay, simple stuff again?
Simple stuff. The absolute key, is that it always comes from affection. It should never feel like mocking or hurtful teasing. That's the main pitfall. If one partner feels like the playfulness is actually dismissing their feelings or making light of something serious to them, that's a problem. So, like always, communication is vital. Checking in, did that feel fun for you too?
That makes complete sense. Which brings us to a really important point. We need to be clear about what playfulness isn't. It's not a cover for bad behavior, right?
Absolutely not. That's crucial. Real playfulness is never, ever at your partner's expense. It's not biting sarcasm disguised as a joke.
Yeah, the kind that leaves a sting.
Exactly. And it's not using humor to constantly deflect, to avoid taking responsibility or having those necessary difficult conversations, that's avoidance, not playfulness.
So there's a big difference between laughing with someone and laughing at them, or using laughter to dodge accountability.
A huge difference. True playfulness comes from connection. It aims to lift your partner up, to share joy, to make things feel lighter together. It should never be about tearing them down, even subtly, even if you follow it with, oh, I was just kidding.
That's such an important line to draw. Okay, so we know what it is, why it's good psychologically, how to maybe do more of it, and what it isn't. Why does this matter so much now in our, let's face it, often really stressful modern lives?
Well, the sources really highlighted how chronic stress, the endless to-do lists, the packed schedules,
Mm,
it all pushes relationships towards routine, towards autopilot sometimes.
yeah, the daily grind can take over.
It really can. Days blur together, weeks fly by, and suddenly that sense of excitement, that spark, it can feel a bit dimmed. Playfulness cuts right through that fog.
Like a burst of sunshine on a cloudy day, maybe,
Right.
relationship-wise.
That's a perfect analogy. It's a reminder that love, that partnership, doesn't always have to be serious business. It doesn't always have to be about logistics and problems.
It reminds you why you chose each other in the first place, perhaps.
Exactly. When you make time to genuinely laugh together, you're actively reinforcing your connection. You're remembering the fun side of your partner, the things that initially drew you in. Plus, think about the memories you create. It's often those spontaneous, silly moments, not the big, expensive holidays that stick with you, is it?
Oh, absolutely. The time you both couldn't stop laughing about something ridiculous, those are often the best ones.
And they don't need Instagram to validate
Right.
them, right? They're just yours. That shared laugh that stopped a fight in its tracks or turned a bad day around. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. So when we boil it all down, what's the main takeaway from all this?
I think the big picture is that playfulness is kind of a relational superpower. That sounds cheesy, maybe, but it's true
A superpower. Okay, I like it. Why?
because it deepens the bond, improves communication, helps you navigate conflict more smoothly, and genuinely keeps that romantic spark alive, even when life is throwing everything at you.
So it's not just nice to have, it's actually pretty essential for a thriving relationship.
That's what the research strongly suggests. Making space for joy, for laughter, for silliness. It's not frivolous, it's fundamental. It's a building block for strength and resilience.
So the final word seems to be maybe lighten up a bit. Let go of the need for everything to be perfect and productive all the time.
At least some of the time, yeah.
Make a conscious choice to invite some play back in.
That's it, exactly. Make space for it.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into the surprisingly serious power of just being playful, here's something for you to think about.
Okay.
What's one small, genuinely playful thing you could maybe do with your partner today or tomorrow? Doesn't have to be big. A silly note, stupid face, putting on that song.
Just one little thing.
Just one. And then maybe think about how that tiny act, that little moment of shared lightness, how might that contribute to your connection? Not just right now, but, over time. Could making that effort, cultivating that playfulness, really be a game changer for how healthy and happy your relationship feels down the road? Definitely something worth considering. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.